be honest, nobody believed that this wouldn't touch a lot of very famous people, right? This whole milieu we find ourselves in wouldn't touch a lot of famous people. And all I can say when I saw it is, I never had to go to a white party. I didn't go to none of those parties.
No?
No, it never appealed to me. I'm not saying
Kanye West just blew the roof off again, and this time he's calling out Will Smith and Jay-Z directly, dropping claims about what really went down behind closed doors. The elite circles are finally trembling, and if what Ye's hinting at turns out to be true, some of Hollywood's so-called untouchables might be running out of cover fast. For years, every time Kanye spoke on the dark side of the industry, people brushed him off. They said he was ranting, losing it, or just being "ye doing yeah." But now, things are shifting big time. The same crowd that once laughed is starting to listen, and this time they're not treating it like background noise. And here's the wild part. Right before folks started digging into that Epstein vault earlier this year, the whole conversation flipped. It's no longer whispers or speculation, it's real talk now. And people are finally paying attention. There are names popping up everywhere, in old documents, hidden tips, secret submissions, and shady logs. No confirmed charges or convictions yet, but there are mentions that got people circling back fast. Kanye had been calling out the elite for ages, and right at the center of his aim sits one cultural giant, Jay-Z. Now let's be clear, legally, there's nothing on paper. No official accusations, no trial dates, no travel records, and no names listed in the Black Book. But still, Jay's name shows up in a few recorded submissions from years ago, and that alone got people raising their eyebrows. Maybe it doesn't hold legal weight, but socially, it's heavy. The streets are definitely talking about it. What's got folks even more uneasy is Jay-Z's name floating too close to that Epstein mess. He was once business partners, allegedly, with big power players like Diddy, Weinstein, and R. Kelly, men who used to seem untouchable. Sure, being associated doesn't prove guilt, but it does make people start digging deeper, fast. The question shifted from, did he do something, to how much did he know? And once that switch happened, suddenly Kanye's old warnings started to look a whole lot less crazy. Kanye's words were never just about scandal or gossip. They ran way deeper. He was talking about protection, about loyalty, and how the real power players inside that elite system stay untouchable no matter what. Back then, people said he was being emotional, but now it's starting to look like he was exposing something systematic, something calculated. And yeah, it wasn't the only one speaking up. D.L. Hughley stepped in too, not with accusations, but with sharp observations that hit hard. He called out the way Hollywood's outrage works like a switch, quick to cancel some folks instantly while others walk away untouched. That double standard had people side-eyeing the industry like never before. Then DL brought up an old buried case involving Gabriella Rico, a woman who once claimed she witnessed disturbing things at a secret elite gathering. Her story was brushed off and forgotten years ago, labeled as nonsense. But now, the vibe's different. People are starting to wonder if maybe, just maybe, those old warnings were the truth hiding in plain sight. Now, with Epstein's web of connections crawling back into the spotlight, the heat is on again. Every corner of those elite social circles is getting picked apart, every name re-examined. D.L. Hughley's point hits straight. Why do certain stories vanish until it's safe to bring them up again? Why does accountability only show up when the public mood finally allows it? DL didn't stop there. He pushed for real equality and exposure. He said every person mentioned should face the same level of scrutiny. No special treatment, no untouchables, no sacred cows. That echoes Kanye's message loud and clear. He's been saying it for years. The industry protects its pillars until the pressure gets too heavy to hold. And when it does, that's when the powerful start sacrificing their own to keep the system alive. You can feel that shift building again. Quiet moves are being made. Long-term plans overseas, new shell companies, luxury property buys. Alone, they look harmless. But when you start seeing patterns, every action starts to feel like a symbol. The streets read those symbols, and when silence follows, it only makes the whispers louder. And that silence, it leads us right to another name Kanye's been circling for years, Will Smith. Now let's keep it real. Will's public image has always been spotless. Family man, clean reputation, the Hollywood ambassador everyone looked up to. But lately, that flawless image is starting to crack, and people are watching closely. Behind Will Smith's spotless image, quiet whispers have been floating around for years. Not about who he is, but about how much power he holds, and the strange mentor relationships within those elite circles. As those whispers kept spreading, they started to sound more like pieces of an old story being pieced back together. One name that really stirred things up was Brother Bilal, knows. We won't dive deep into those details, but Bilal made some wild claims about Will's behavior toward his mentee, Bryce Gray, someone who's reportedly been struggling hard lately.
Now,
you called her a dope fiend.
Yeah, I called her bald-headed dope fiend, without question. I told her she better sue me because
she said to TMZ when they asked her when she left the Breakfast Club,
yes,
she looked. They was like, "Well, what do you got to say?" And she was like, "We're suing, and I was just like.
Now, nothing here has been officially proven, but the real shock wasn't in the accusations. It was what came after. The denials came fast, and the pushback was powerful. But when Bilal said he was ready to take things to court and fight legally, the noise suddenly stopped. No case, no follow-up, just silence. And that silence has people wondering, what really went down behind those closed doors? No lawsuits, no legal action, just the court of public opinion roaring louder by the day. The silence isn't settling the story, it's feeding it. Almost 2 years have passed and still, nothing's been resolved. Brother Bilal keeps talking, keeps standing by his claims, and yet nobody's taken him to court. That alone has people raising eyebrows and paying closer attention than ever. And then there's Jaguar Wright. Anyone who's been watching the industry for a while knows she's been sounding alarms for years. She never framed what she said as just another scandal. She called it a pattern, a repeating cycle hiding in plain sight, and suddenly her old warnings don't sound so wild anymore. That's where everything starts looping back to Kanye's words again. The things he said years ago, the protection, the silence, the hidden power moves, they're all starting to line up now.
About 2 years.
Yeah,
and we haven't gotten a lawsuit yet.
I said some pretty, what some people may think to be outrageous things, but I knew them to be true and had the evidence to be, to show that it was true. So from that, that's when Jada responded out of anger, not out of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Because for her to be a global iconic...
This was never just about private lives. It's about control. Kanye's been saying it for years. The industry runs like a fortress where social power is the real currency and silence equals loyalty. It's not about friendship. It's about who protects who and who stays quiet when things get messy. Now step back for a second. Look at the whole picture. You've got Kanye raising alarms about the system, D.L. Hewley calling out Hollywood's selective outrage, and Jaguar Wright exposing the deeper patterns. When you put it all together, the idea that these elite circles play by their own rules doesn't sound crazy anymore. Whether it's Jay-Z's connections to controversial power players or Will Smith's name tied to mentorship stories that ended in chaos, the conversation's shifted big time. It's no longer about isolated scandals. It's about entire ecosystems, networks built on influence, where power decides who gets exposed and who stays protected. And here's the cultural switch-up. Back then, people asked, is Kanye losing it? But now the real question has changed to, what did Kanye see before the rest of us did? Because when voices that were once ignored, like Jaguar and Bilal, start echoing the same things, you can't just laugh it off anymore. Something deeper is clearly at play. And now the tension's thicker than ever. Every week, another clip, another leaked message, another voice adding to the storm. It's like the walls around the elite circles are finally cracking, and the truth is trying to squeeze its way out. Kanye's silence lately only makes it louder. People can feel that he's holding back something heavy, something he's waiting for the right moment to drop. Meanwhile, the streets are buzzing. Blogs, podcasts, and late-night streams are connecting dots, pulling up old interviews, and replaying moments that once seemed harmless, but now hit different. That laughter folks used to throw at Kanye's warnings, it's turning into chills. Suddenly, the stories of control, silence, and protection don't sound like rants. They sound like clues we missed. And this is where things get wild. The public isn't waiting for the media anymore. They're investigating, digging, comparing notes, building their own receipts. Hollywood's biggest names are staying quiet. But that silence is getting louder than any statement could be. Because now, people aren't just asking who did what. They're asking who's protecting who. And once that question gets out, there's no putting it back. The game's changing, the masks are slipping, and the empire of silence, it's starting to shake.
I extorted you. There was a money shakedown. You said you didn't have all the facts. So that puts you in legal jeopardy right now. You said all the facts will come out. None of the facts came out, right? So now...
And all I can say when I saw it is, I never had to go to White Park.
Screenshots, old footage, and quiet confessions start resurfacing, linking faces people never thought would cross paths. It's like the puzzle Kanye hinted at years ago is finally coming together, and the picture it's forming is darker than anyone expected. You can feel the energy shifting. Celebs who used to brush off questions are suddenly dodging cameras, canceling interviews, or dropping cryptic posts about truth coming to light. Fans aren't missing a beat either. They're breaking things down frame by frame, connecting every whisper to every old rumor. It's like the internet turned into one giant investigation board overnight. And through it all, Kanye's name keeps floating at the center of it. Every time someone digs deeper, his past words start making more sense. He talked about gatekeepers, contracts, and control, and now those words don't sound like conspiracy. They sound like warning shots. Hollywood once laughed him off, but now the laughter's gone quiet. People aren't looking at him like he's crazy anymore. They're asking if he was the only one bold enough to speak when everyone else stayed silent. The system's cracks are showing, and what's slipping through might just change everything. The so-called culturally untouchable perfection is finally starting to crack. Not in courtrooms, but in culture. And remember, culture always moves faster than the law. The world's watching in real time as public perception flips, and the ones who once seemed too powerful to question are suddenly being picked apart piece by piece. This convo isn't about proving guilt. It's about recognizing patterns. Because if all these overlaps are just coincidences, why do they keep repeating? If all these stories are truly isolated, why do they paint the same picture over and over again? The internet's not buying it anymore. One user hit it perfectly saying, "I doubt Kanye West is bipolar, he's always telling the truth." Another wrote, "It really makes me think about how hard the media tried to make him look crazy just because he was exposing things." Those comments hit deep because that wasn't supposed to get out, ever. But now the biggest question floating around is this: was Kanye exposing hidden patterns early on, or was he just stirring the pot for chaos? And if the public keeps digging like this, whose name is going to pop up next? So tell me, what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this conversation's only heating up. And if you thought this story was wild, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and hit that next video because we're diving even deeper into what's really happening behind Hollywood's shiny walls.